Hello and welcome. You're watching News X and I'm Tilak Chandlo. The Tilak Chandlo is a sacred forehead mark deeply rooted in Hindu tradition. It's not just a religious mark but a symbol of victory, auspiciousness and devotion. In fact, belonging to Sanatan Dharma. For devotees, it serves as a constant reminder of their ritual and their spiritual identity and connection with God. The Tilak Chandlo is applied on the forehead at the point of the Ajna Chakra, also known as the third eye. According to Hindu traditions, the Ajna Chakra is the sixth primary chakra in the body and represents awareness, intuition, and the unconscious mind. Marking this spot is believed to awaken spiritual consciousness. The practice holds special importance in the Swaminarayan Sampradaya, where the Tilak Chandlo is a visible and meaningful symbol of devotion and discipline. Male devotees apply both the Tilak and the Chandlo during daily puja and temple worships. The Tilak is made from chandan or yellow sandalwood paste, while the Chandlo is made from kumkum, red saffron powder. In the Swaminarayan tradition, the Tilak represents the divine feet of Bhagwan Swaminarayan, while the Chandlo represents the devotees. Together, they express a powerful spiritual idea that the devotee humbly places themselves at the God's feet and dedicates their life to service and devotion. In many Hindu households, applying the Tilak Chandlo is a part of daily prayer and routine. Parents apply it on their children to seek blessings from God for health, wisdom, protection, and moral strength. The Tilak Chandlo also carries a strong social and cultural meaning. It is a mark of respect and goodwill. Elders, guests, and visitors are often welcomed with the Tilak Chandlo as a gesture of honor and warmth. It is believed to invite positive energy and ward off negativity. The Tilak Chandlo is worn during prayers, festivals, weddings, family functions, and important life events. But now, an 8-year-old Hindu student has reportedly been forced to leave his primary school in London after facing alleged discrimination for wearing a Tilak Chandlo. An advocacy group in the UK said that the school staff repeatedly questioned the child about his religious practice and asked him to justify it, which they described as inappropriate for a minor. The group also claims that the head teacher closely monitored the child during breaks, making him feel intimidated and isolated from his own classmates. Despite repeated attempts by the child's parents and other Hindu families to explain the religious significance of such practices, the school leadership allegedly remained dismissive. Reportedly, similar issues have led to at least 4 Hindu children leaving the school, raising wider concerns about religious inclusion and safeguarding in British schools. Joining us to take this important conversation today is Adit Kotari, Foreign Affairs expert. With us on the broadcast is also Mr. Gautam Mukherjee, senior journalist, Professor Pavan Sinha, Hindu scholar, as well as Ambassador Gauri Shankar Gupta, former diplomat. Thank you all for taking out time speaking to us on NewsX. Let me first go to Professor Pavan Sinha, who's a Hindu scholar. Sir, in terms of the Tilak Chandlo, I've tried to explain why people apply it, why it's so personal to people, but also, give us an understanding on that, please, sir.
See, the issue is not so simple as it seems. Issue is really very complicated. This is to be noted that Christianity has the population of around 31%, Muslims are 25%, and Hindus are just 15%. But take it USA or Great Britain or Bangladesh or Pakistan or many other countries, this big population, a bigger population, they are always harassing Hindu people. What has happened in Australia, I was here on this channel with you. So what happened in Australia, what happened in Canada. So this is not so simple a thing. This is very complicated thing. Why they are after Hinduism? Similar practices are there in other religions also, but they are always discouraging Hindu boys, Hindu girls from wearing their religious pratik chinna like Chandan Tilak, like any other tilak, like Kalava. Why can't they wear it? Particularly in UK, we should know that there is Equality Act 2010. Despite this act, they are harassing us, such a small boy, and not only on.
Okay, I think we've lost that connection over there, but we'll come back to Professor Sinha momentarily. But let me go across to Ambassador Gauri Shankar Gupta in the interim. So I'd like to understand from you, how is it that applying Tilak has triggered a school where the head teacher is allegedly following the child is feeling intimidated? What does that essentially tell us about the mentality of the school at large?
First of all, namaskar to everyone. There are two, in fact, there are three aspects of this issue. One is the scientific aspect. The tilak is not something symbol of culture alone. It's the science because the forehead, this Agya Chakra that you mentioned, the Agya Chakra is the one which controls the thought process and it controls the mind, the volatility of the mind. And this is the tradition. Once you put something cool there, whether it is Roli or Chandan or something else, it helps you in regulating the mind thought process to some extent. And that is the reason it is based on a very profound science of how the human physical, activity work, and that is why this tradition was started. So that is the first part of it. I think we need to explain it to those who do not understand it. The second part is that the Hindu community has been target from different religions over a period of time for variety of reasons. And that is because we have not been able to explain the rituals of Hinduism in a scientific manner. That explanation has to be given. There is a very, very profound science. I have not found that kind of science in any religion as I find in Hinduism. Most of the festivities, most of the rituals have a very, very profound science behind it. For example, the Makar Sankranti festival just passed away. It is one festival which is celebrated by all Indians all over the country in different names because that is the day when the sun's movement starts going towards the north. And this is based on a profound astronomical study done by our ancestors thousands of years back in time based on the entire planetary motions. And these are enshrined in some of the oldest books like Surya Siddhant and Arya Bhatya and other writings of ancient time. So these have to be explained properly why this is. That is the second part. The third part is that the community has to remain united. The Hindu community has never been united. They are divided into various segments, this sect, this jati, that jati. Now that is one of the problems that they cannot raise this issue unitedly with the other communities. The fourth part is that if a school is allowing a cross to be worn, a large number of Christian children they won't cross, a large number of Muslim women wear some sort of cover on their head. It may not be burqa, it may not be hijab, but they wear a kind of scarf on the head. Then why not a Hindu child allowed to wear a very prominent, a scientific symbol of his religion or her religion? Now, this is the issue which can be raised by the community. It is not easy for the governments to raise this issue because that becomes very complicated, but the community can raise it. For example, there was a lot of resistance on the Sikh children wearing a turban on their head or a kada in their hand. Now that was resolved with lot of persistence effort by the Sikh community. They raised this issue, and then the also government pitched in little bit here and there, but the community has to raise it. Similarly, I believe this issue has to be raised by the community. They should remain united. They should explain the science behind it, and then they should say, if you allow other religions to carry their symbol, why not Hindu? Why are you discriminating against us? And that issue has to be, brought to the public notice. Is to be raised in the media. It should be raised on public forums. The NGOs should take it to the parliament in the Britain, and not only in Britain, in other countries wherever it happens. But it is possible only when we are united.
Right, let me rope in Mr. Gautam Mukherjee then to gather an understanding from him. So, based on what Ambassador Gauri Shankar Gupta has said, with regards to the unity in the community at large, what exactly do you make of that point? Because on one end, yes, if Indians were to unite together and speak against it, they would create an impact. But on the other hand, people are also of this perception that why should we interfere? So, what essentially do you make of it?
Well, the question of unity is, of course, a very valid point. But having said that, this school seems to be living in some kind of warp of its own, because Britain is now a multicultural society. The king goes to the Swaminarayan temple regularly. There are the prime minister goes. There is Diwali celebrated in the Prime Minister's house, as it is in the White House in America. So this is also protected by law. You cannot discriminate like this as per the law. There are also racial laws which say that you cannot pick on people from the non-Caucasian races for any reason whatsoever, unless it is based on some kind of merit. So this school needs to be, punished. There's no two ways about it. But that can be taken up legally. It can be taken up by media. It has, as you've pointed out, already been taken up by a Hindu group.
Yes.
That has highlighted the way this boy has been treated, and also how 4 others were forced to leave. Now, this is a Christian school, but, in Britain, the religion is, at least the Christian religion, is not shoved down people's throats. In the main, even the Catholic schools, such as they are, there are very few, but such as they are not allowed to push the religion. It is not favored by the parents. It's not favored by the Board of Governors. So I don't understand where this is coming from. And definitely this school should be pillory.
No, you're absolutely right. They should take accountability. They should put out an explanation for why this has happened, that there should be some action that should be taken. But on that note, Mr. Adit Kothari, I'll rope you in over here. Imagine the kind of mental trauma this 8-year-old child has gone through, being isolated from his class, from the other children around him in class, being felt like he was being watched all the time, being singled out. Just the emotional impact of it. Who takes accountability?
There is no doubt that there is this sense of Abrahamic othering which exists and lingers on within British education systems. And this, this particular incident echoes from the themes of, what Henry Jackson Society's report from a couple of years ago, which basically covered the anti-Hindu hate within British schools. It sort of reinforces that particular study. Just to contextualize for your viewers, I think it was Ambassador Gupta who mentioned the Equalities Act. The Equalities Act is basically where every school in the UK is, mandated to follow, absolutely no discrimination policy for all students. Now, Now, this comes with reasonable religious expressions. Now, reasonable expressions such as hijabs or wearing crosses, they completely comply with the school's uniform. Even in this particular case, when I access the website of the school, it clearly emphasizes that we instill pride and identity through the uniform, but it does not actually explicitly say that you're actually not allowed to wear your skull caps or your cross or your tilak. So, the school in this particular case was predominantly acting through a inherent sense of biases, either for not being able to understand the Hindu faith or having some sort of a pungent sort of distrust or distaste for it, which sort of lingers from that sort of Abrahamic othering which I mentioned. But going to the larger section of this particular Hindu messiah, Hindu messiah is largely taken very lightly. Now, just imagine, it was a removal of a Muslim symbol or a Christian symbol. This would have been, in the mainstream media, it would have been covered with widespread sort of hatred in the schools. Those would have been the headlines which we would have seen in the mainstream media. But when it comes to the Hindu side of things, there's a sense of quieter dismissal, and that predominantly exists because of lesser amount of pressures from the community to policymakers and law enforcement agencies, which is why Hindu messiah in general is taken very lightly, because we in ourselves are unable to pressurize policymakers to ensure that these issues become significant and are reported. Now, going back to that Henry Jackson Society report, only 1% of the schools which it actually covered actually reported on any incidents, whereas the parents had reported almost 74% of the parents who were covered as part of this study had actually reported Hindu messiah and anti-Hindu incidents within schools. So that is the kind of place where institutions are failing. Ofsted, which is an institution in the UK which basically studies and analyzes all of the schools and the education system, has failed the sort of Hindu students largely. So I think we need to start engaging with these kind of institutions, with policymakers and law enforcement agencies at large.
All right, okay. Ambassador Gauri Shankar Gupta, I'll come to you then. Taking from what Mr. Adit Kothari has said, had something like this happened in India where a child was singled out because he was wearing a cross, wouldn't that be the top headline in India? Then why are we seeing there being no attention being given to this 8-year-old child and the kind of mental stress and trauma that he's had to witness in a school with children around him, with the headmaster or the head teacher over there singling him out?
No, you are absolutely right. If this had happened to a Christian child in India, it would make headlines in the Indian newspaper and the media. While I have seen the European countries, they are in a very subtle manner. They promote Christianity, and in the media, in all their institutions, this has been their what I can call a norm in their society, and particularly for Hinduism, because it's a non-Abrahamic religion, and therefore they somehow feel that it is not up to their mark. They do not understand the deepest science of Hinduism. That is what I would like to re-emphasize again, because these people go by the so-called book, and who wrote that book and who said what, nobody knows. In India, we do not believe in blind faith. Our religious thoughts are actually open to criticism and debate. This has been a long debate on all those issues for years.
Right.
And while they are absolutely closed-minded that you accept this and don't accept this. So this point also needs to be brought into a discussion apart from the legal side. Legally, of course, the child should be protected. As per the law of the Britain, he cannot be penalized. The parents as well as the Hindu community should raise this issue with the media and also with the legal authorities, and they should file a complaint against the school, and if necessary it should be taken to the British Parliament. But that is of course one issue. But I feel that in general, the Hindu community has failed to project itself properly, and because of the tolerance, it is considered as weakness by others. We have been very tolerant, and that has been considered as a weakness. While the most scientific writings anywhere in the world, because I have been a student of this kind of writings, I have not seen any writings anywhere comparable to the ancient Indian scriptures like Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita and other writings, which are so scientific and deeply, explaining the what I call all the time the explanation of the insensible and unintelligible,
Okay.
while other religions are
All right.
absolutely,
Absolutely.
totally blind faith followers.
Absolutely. Professor Pavan Sinha wants to make a point over here. So go ahead.
Yes, because intellectuals are here in the panel, so that's why I want to say one thing, and I want to catch everybody's attention to this. That Christians are 31%, Muslims are 25%, Hindus are just 15%. Is still why they all are against us. This is to be noted, be it Australia, be it Canada, be it United States even, be it United Kingdom. They people are just gathering uh, to harass Hindus. What is the reason? We have to understand this also. Otherwise, things would not have taken such bad shape if we had risen the issue when first boy was expelled from the school. There have been 5 such incidents, so far my knowledge goes. So 5 such incidents have already happened there, and still we are looking for the unity, while the other
Okay.
communities there. Uh, I would like to name the Muslim community in Britain. They have already gathered. They have already gathered. Then they have started influencing the politics and administration there. Why we are not conglomerated on this topic, on such harassment? So, but still, I would like to say, because I know Ambassador Gupta, and he has been very particular about so many things. Aditya has been such a good intellectual who has raised so many issues, and who doesn't know Gautam Mukherjee Sahab. So let us discuss and debate it separately, that what is the reason, what is after Hindus.
Okay.
Those
All right.
are
All right.
such
What we can't do is change the past, but what we can do is change the future. I am sitting over here and making it abundantly clear that I am unwilling to accept the fact that that there is an 8-year-old boy in London who's been forced to leave a school just because he was wearing tilak. What do we do about this, Adit Kothari? What do we do?
I think Professor the professor rightly pointed out that we have to come to the root cause. The root cause of all of this is the Abrahamic othering. The mockery of polytheism is one of the biggest issues that was covered in the Henry Jackson Society report, where harassment included calling Hindu pupils as kafirs, or derogatory terms being used against them for following a certain caste system, or to the extent where beef was actually thrown at them, and there were many a times extremism influences were used which came from either family or their sort of upbringing to pressurize Hindu children to actually convert, because they would see their religion as superior as compared to those of the Hindu peers.
Okay.
So there is an element of that Abrahamic othering which needs to be understood by the schooling system, by the authorities at large, and Hofstede, which is the agency which actually monitors all of the schools. The schools in Britain.
All right. I'm really short on time, but Mr. Gautam Mukherjee, I'd like the last word from you.
Yes, I believe that this is more of an aberration than a norm. I have, been to school in Britain, and I was one amongst, I think, maybe one or two Hindus in the whole place. There was no discrimination. I was left alone. I wasn't made to go to church. I could do what I did, whatever I liked during the time that the others went to church or celebrated whatever special festival. So, this is an oddity, and it should be dealt with the law and with media attention on it. Now, Abrahamic religions, yes, but I think they have a bigger problem with the Muslims pushing their way and the locals kind of fighting back. Practicing Christians in Britain are not that many. It's Catholics who tend to practice, and they are in a minority. Protestants don't go to church. They're not very religiously oriented now. So if you have certain people and certain schools and certain masters who are pushing this kind of thing, they need to be singled out and told that, you're in 2026 and this is a very different Britain and you have no business doing this.
All right, absolutely. On that note, I'd like to thank all our guests. I know
I just want to add.
Okay.
I just want to add 10 seconds, not more than that.
Okay, all right.
There is a sense of xenophobic attacks as well, where there is a sense of white supremacy, where they ask people to go back to Pakistan. That's the kind of mindset that I was actually trying to highlight. It's not so much of the religion, but more sort of the ethnicity aspect as well.
Okay, all right.
Thank
With
you.
that, I'd like to thank all our guests for joining us on the broadcast to take this very important conversation forward. On that note, a short break.